Okay, 16, we're dealing with a quadratic function. Which function has x-intercepts of 2 and -5? You know, that's not necessarily mean you're going to plug in 2 into the function or -5. And we got to figure out, the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. And whenever it crosses the x-axis, the y-coordinates are 0. Okay, so how do you find the x-intercept? Plug 0 in for y. So you're looking for this right here. Okay, so we're going to plug 0 in for y. If I, let me look. I think all these are factorable. Let's go ahead and factor these. That's a good idea. Let's factor. Okay, so here we go. Factor the first one. This sign is negative. That means the signs we plug in are going to be different. And then we're going to have our x's here. So x and x. And then we need two numbers that multiply to give us 5 and have a difference of 2 because there's different signs. I don't think we have anything. So I don't think the a is factorable. Let's try the second one. Negative here means the signs are going to be different. So it'll be a plus and a minus. Plug in your x's. And then we need two numbers that multiply to give us 10. And since the signs are different here, we're looking for a, whoops, sorry about that, x plus and x minus. Since the signs here are different, we are looking for a difference of 3. And it multiplies to give us 10. So I think we have that. I think that's going to be 5 and 2. 5 and 2 have a difference of 3 and multiplies to give us 10. And since we have -3 here, we want the 5 negative and the 2 positive. Now, if we plug 0 in for x or in for y, that means this equals 0, right? And how would you find the x-intercepts? Well, you got to solve for x. So to solve for x, that means we're going to add 5 here, add 5, and x is equal positive 5. And we set this equal to 0 and solve for x, so x is equal -2. Well, that's not what this says up here. So if you've got this wrong, there's a good chance you probably answered B. But let's keep going. So for this next one, let's actually jump down to 10 or D, factor that. This sign is plus. That means the signs are going to be the same. Then you look at this sign to tell what they're both going to be. So it's going to be x plus and x plus. And then we need two numbers that multiply to give us 10. And since the signs are the same here, they will have a sum of 7. Well, that's going to be 5 and 2. And if you set each one of those equal to 0 and solve, set equal to 0 and solve, you're going to get x equals -2 and x equals -5. That's not going to work either. So I think the answer is C, but let's double check. X minus and x plus, because there's different signs. That's a negative here. That means the signs you plug in here are going to be different. Okay. And then the other thing, we got two numbers that multiply to give us 10. And since the signs are different, there's going to be a difference of 3. So what numbers multiply to give you 10 and it has a difference of 3? That'd be 5 and 2. In this case, 5 has to be positive and 2 is negative because it's positive 3. And then once you do that, you just set it equal to 0. So set this equal to 0 and solve, and then you subtract 5 this time, and you get x equals -5, and that's an x-intercept. And you'll get positive 2 for x here. That's also an x-intercept, so your answer for this one is C.